This YCN segment is brought to you by New London Hospital, an affiliate of Dartmouth Hitchcock.
Welcome in, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide, and as you can tell, we are not in the studio. We are in Ramuntos in Claremont, New Hampshire, and Andrew, they have provided us a beautiful spread here.
Yeah.
I heard this is just the beginning.
Right?
So
more could be coming. Yeah.
It looks good. We got a pizza. We got some garlic knots. Obviously, they're famous for their garlic knots. All kinds of different pizzas. We'll get into this later. What's on this thing? This looks delicious. And Harpoon Brewery, a good sponsorship here at Ramuntos. You can get all Harpoon beers on tap. And it's a great place. So come on down to Ramuntos in Claremont. And they're gracious enough to host us here. So, Andrew, let's get into what we're here to talk about, and that is Super Bowl 52. We might need these beers as we talk about that. What a disappointing game. And give credit to the Eagles, won the game. They had played a great game, but from a Patriots standpoint, you just know they left it on the table. There was a little bit they could have gotten, and they shouldn't have lost that game.
Yeah, I mean, Patriots early on were doing things that the Patriots do not do. I mean, with the missed snap, which led to a missed field goal. I think they missed an extra point
too, yeah.
I mean, they were just doing things that the team does not do. Early on, when you see that from the Pats, you know the game's kind of in jeopardy.
Right.
But, I mean, it was a really good game. The Pats scored 33 points. I think when you score 33 points, you should probably win that game. But, really, I mean, on both sides, the defense was just not good. I mean, there were a ton of points given up and big plays on both sides. It was crazy. I mean, the Eagles really on third down, they had faced a ton of third downs and converted, it seemed, every single time. Nick Foles making a little 4 or 5 yard pass. He looked really good in this game.
He did.
I mean, it was a thriller. Very disappointed.
Right, it was a thriller. It was a great Super Bowl. If you're kind of impartial and you're rooting for a close one, last year's Super Bowl was a great one in the end. But people forget it was a 25-point lead and it was a blowout at one point. This Super Bowl was never really more than 2 touchdowns. Yep. Patriots coming back, and at half, Patriots were down, but they get the ball in the second half. You knew Brady was going to continue to shred that defense. He comes right down the field. I think there was 4 passes to Gronk on that drive. They score the touchdown, and it looks like they're right back in it, but then the defense gives it up again, and it was just a struggle the whole way. And speaking of that defense, a big guy that was missing, we've talked about it all along these last 2 days, Malcolm Butler. I understand Belichick's got rules, but you didn't put the best team on the field. They had the best chance to win that game. I don't care what he says.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Malcolm Butler, I don't think we've confirmed reports of exactly what it was. Something about missing curfew. He just, he wasn't exactly fitting into what the Patriots do when they prepare for a game, especially a Super Bowl. So he didn't play. I think he might have played 1 special team snap or something like that. But no, he didn't play at all on defense. And this is a guy who's played in 2 Super Bowls. He's played in a ton of playoff games. He's come up clutch, obviously winning that game against Seattle when his career really started and exploded. Yeah. But, without Malcolm Butler in this game, you could see Nick Foles was having a pretty easy time passing the ball.
It wasn't even really challenging at all, and I know Butler's had his struggles this year on the field, but he makes tackles. He might give up a catch, but he makes tackles. He wraps them up. There's not that extra yardage. So unfortunately, it was a situation where I know it wasn't good and it didn't get better, but that I hesitate to say it cost them the Super Bowl, but it was a big contributing factor. Obviously, the Patriots should have played better, and they had their chances. But one guy who really couldn't have played better was Tom Brady. He's clearly not falling off this proverbial cliff that people like to talk about. 500 yards, the only player ever to throw for 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and lose the game. So any game, playoff game, regular season game, exhibition game, anything. So he's clearly ready to come back next year, and he could have another 2-3 years left.
Yeah, he could. I mean, obviously he won the MVP this season, and you talk about Tom Brady numbers, he only threw, 32, 33 touchdowns, something like that.
Right.
I mean, you can see him, he's thrown, 50 before?
Yeah, he could have a much better season.
He can even have a better season, and I think he had 8 picks. Last year, what did he have, 2 or 3 or 4?
Right, yeah, he didn't throw many interceptions last year.
So he could have an even better season than this year's MVP season. But yeah, I mean, he performed at a very high level in this game. Early on, when we saw him miss the pass from Amendola, I mean, I think that was tough for him a tough play for him to make.
Right.
And then you see the Eagles on 4th down at the goal line throw a touchdown to Nick Foles, basically the same play. and they get a touchdown out of it.
Right.
I felt like that was just such a punch in the gut for the Pats.
Yeah, and
really
they just never recovered. They did have the lead at one point, obviously 33-32, but that was it. Just wrapping up quickly before we hit the break. Overall, a disappointing season because as Patriots fans, we're spoiled. Any season that doesn't end in the Super Bowl victory is a disappointment. But a good season overall and a lot to build on for next year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously another good season making it to the Super Bowl. When the Pats, I really, as a fan, I would rather have them not make the Super Bowl
it's tough
than lose
losing
in the Super Bowl. But you made the Super Bowl. I mean, another great year, and especially with all the struggles they had. They lost this game by one score, really 8 points. With all the defensive struggles and the drama with Tom Brady and Belichick, just coming up short. It really was a good year.
So we'll elaborate more on what's to come. Obviously losing both coordinators and maybe losing some players as well. Plus we'll dive into what's on this pizza. When we come back, we're at Ramuntos in Claremont on YCN Sports Talk.